Good morning there. This is Henry Lee. I started this daily live streaming earlier today because I have an appointment with an engineer to fix my AC. Um, so if you missed it, please forgive me, and you should be able to um watch the recording. I also adjusted the settings of streaming. Hope I have a smoother streaming with multiple screens. Okay, yesterday we have studied uh, the 3 and 4 leaf groups. We talked about the main stroke within a group. When you have a 4 leaf group, you could have the first stroke bigger than the other, or the second, or the third. Um, so not all the strokes are realistic or in equal weight, resembling the bamboo leaves, because they could be in a perspective, um, and rarely the leaves are the same size. You can see this live example, a branch I just cut from my backyard. So if you do a 2-leaf, you can see there one small, one big, right? And here's 3. So not symmetrical. See this group here, the first leaf is obviously the main one. Okay. The group we talked about, the 4 is actually 2 plus 2. So all the leaves derive from the one stroke, 1 leaf, and then 2 leaf, one big, one small, then 3, then 4. Now we talk about the 5. Okay. So first of all, let's uh, wet my brush. So whenever I start, I soak the brush. I have 2 brushes identical to each other. The reason I have that is number one, I can use light and dark separately, and then also I noticed that the brush behave the best in the first 15 minutes after you soak it. It will become like soft or start to lose the resilience if it's a soft brush. So natural hairbrush have this tendency. If you have more than one brushes, uh, you can soak them not at once, but just before you use it. Okay, I use a little bottled ink. I don't have grinded to save time. First of all, let's look at the handout, the copybook or the manual, the easy and clear bamboo painting manual. You can download it if you don't have it. You can download a copy at blueheronarts.com. You can also get a hard copy if you like. Um, this level here is 5 leaves. Number 5 in early times it write like Roman letters 5 leaves. You can also learn a little Chinese to use this book. There's a stroke order, but you can change it. We'll talk about that later. It's not very restrictive, but it's suggested way. You see, 1, 2, 3. So you start um, with a character ge. Remember the 3-stroke group? Then you add 2 strokes, 4 and 5. Let me show you how it works. So 1. Notice that on the book, this stroke goes right outside the frame. So don't be afraid to break the edge of the paper, right? This is a good character, good. Right? You add a ren or ru, the 2-stroke group. I try to vary this too, so they're not the same. It could be narrower or longer or somehow. And if it is too parallel, you can keep adding more groups on overlapping them to break it. And notice also the distance, the negative space between strokes among different strokes. So this is group from a 5-stroke group, 5-leaf group. Now we can also put the 3-stroke group on the right side instead of on the left side. You can start. You could also start with the 2. So it didn't show the stroke order in this case. That means you can do whichever you like. Okay. So the 3-stroke on the right side and the 2-stroke on the left side. And notice the length and the thickness variation, and you should have one host in each group, and one group is more dominant. I realized the screen is overlapping, so you cannot really see this demo I just did. I apologize. Okay, I did this first on the right, then I added this to the left to overlap with this. So 3-stroke and a 2-stroke, either 3-stroke on the left side or 3-stroke on the right side. Let's go to the next page. Oh, someone corrected me. The X is 10 in Roman letters. V is 5. Thank you. I like the live streaming, even though they're sometimes bumping, not very smooth. But I do get a chance to correct my mistakes live. And you can learn from try and error. So I won't have use like an editing option to to get rid of the mistakes. So you learn from my mistakes too, all right? Let me continue to the next page, okay? So I won't enlarge this book, otherwise it might cover my painting area. Um, I wish you can read the Chinese still, but you can still see the illustration. That's good. At least on this is smaller screen. But my cursor, I think you can still watch that. Can you? So my cursor, like my pointer is still there. So I'll talk through this first. The inscription on this page says, um, in the ancient and contemporary, among ancient and contemporary artists, um, most of them like to make 3-leaf to 5-leaf grouping, um, especially the Yuan Dynasty master Wu Zhen. I think this author highly admired of Wu Zhen, Mei Dao Ren, in his honorable title, the Plum Taoist priest, Wu Zhen. Wu Zhen. I think it's this one. And later we'll study his composition or style more in this book. You can Google it if you like to see. On the cover of the physical book, there's a picture, colored picture of his bamboo painting. Okay, let me paint this and then I explain this. Um, what it says. It says you can start with the initial stroke that didn't count because we're doing 5, right? So then you add 2 人 or people, character we talk about, and then another one. So double 人, double 人. Well, we may put here. We have another character, 从. This is slightly different than this group that we talked about earlier with the character 个 on the left, because this forms a complete like a group, standalone group. This one, the 3-stroke, does not stand alone with the balance of the second, the add-on 2 strokes. So this one, I think this 2-stroke does not stand alone, because it depends on the other strokes. So there's a emphasis on left or right. Together they form a balanced form. Okay. Now this the groove on the lower right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can read that stroke order now. Also notice the point, the ending point. They're not the same length, right? That forms um, um, not like equal. So 1墨比提飞. I'm reading the site inscription there. 平台5页墨比提飞. Okay, just side by side, 5 strokes, and with a swift stroke at the end. Oh, with the last stroke flying. It says flying stroke. Remember we learned this flying stroke earlier. So keep these first four stroke down, and then one last one flying. So pointing. Notice the angle that goes up. Most of the leaves down, but you can have a flying, like a windy bamboo. So my page may not exactly match the book because I moved to the previous page. I combined the two groups from previous page to this one, so I have to change papers. You can see how the bamboo leaves overlap in real life. This is what we will study. The next one it says this is this 5 leaves group is very common with a flying stroke on top of a branch or the tree, the plant. It's a little bit challenge. You cannot hesitate to indicate imagine the wind, the direction of the wind. This is used on top of a branch with this flying stroke on top. And there's another variational form. Excuse me. So looks like a 3-stroke towards the left continuously. And then maybe do this longer. And then add 2 leaves to the right. 1 short, 1 long. And you can notice in the book, there's a flying white on the last stroke. This happens when you do all when you complete our group without reload. So you'll get a not gradation, wet to dry variation naturally, right? I wish I can have it. Also, if you write faster, you'll get the flying white. Next page. let me see if there's any questions or comments before I go on. Okay, thank everybody for watching. Let's continue our study of the simple and clear bamboo painting manual. Let me add some more ink. I add a little water so the the brush is not so sticky. I'm not and at this point I don't want to vary the ink tonality that much because in painting I just keep one group the same. You can use dark with one group, and then you can add a lighter one uh, behind to overlap. So let's just see if I combine these two groups. You know, you can add another group in light, right? Dark always come first and in the front. Now learn another Chinese before we go on. And you can, okay, it's on the corner here. Liu means six, number six. I instantly I have to correct my. This is five Chinese. In ancient times, they put a X like the Roman letter 10, not number five, right? This is a correction. So six and a five. Four is easier. It's a square. I mean, 1, 2, 3 is easier. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have learned 6 Chinese characters so far. It's used in this book as a indication of the stroke order. So very important to learn this if you want to know where to start. Let me enlarge it. This time I'll remember I shrink it back. Okay. So you can see this. First of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5. I think this is still 5. I don't see 6. Okay, so this on the left column is still talking about, okay, yeah, starts with 5, then you add, what's the 5? 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, it's still talking about 5. Then on the left, this main illustration talks about the 6. So you start with 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 here. 4. This is a 4, right? Then make a make a flying stroke on top. That's number 5. Then number 6, cross. I will skip this diagram because I can just read it so you get the main idea. So when you have 5 strokes or 6 are the same, the main stroke could be on the left, on the right, or in the middle, and you can have 2 larger leaves on the right and 3 on the left to balance it. Okay, I'm not going to illustrate that. It's about the same as we talked about earlier, the three and the fours. So one of the leaves should be a main leaf or host. So we talk about the six. You do one, two, three. I made it large so you can see clearly. And then four, that complete a standalone groove, right? Then we will make it, if this is according to this groove, if this is a um, top groove, you do flying strokes like so, and then as you can see, when I have a variation, because this stroke is already very horizontal, it's hard to keep it down. So I should have. So this should be a little bit on this side, maybe, so I can make a easy cross. This looks like something missing here, so you have to add another groove or something to fill in the blank, or you can use the stems. Okay, so the book give you a basic structure, or so you know where to start. Then according to the situation, you can adjust to adjust to the situation. You can add more to make it complete. You can add with light ink or same ink. Okay, let me turn to the next page. Any questions? Great. Feedback, flying white. Yeah, we talked about the feedback. Can you see a flying white on this? Because I have to enlarge it, so you won't see it on small window. That's why I have to enlarge it. So you can see the flying white. It formed with a less moisture in the brush and a fast movement without hesitation. I mean, if you have a dry brush, you can get this even slowly. You don't have to do it fast. But when the brush is wet, uh, if you move fast, you will get it. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, let me go through this. Um, talking about the six leaves. Let me write number six leaves. Okay. You can see these numbers, right? You start with from the left, then the middle, number two, number three on the to the right, then make a cross. Actually, no. This another girl, another three left, middle, and right. So just stacking two groups together. 叠个 means叠 means to put one above the other or overlapping vertically. And the second diagram, one, one, two, three. So you do the top one first, then add 4, 5, 6, the lower group. Understand? So you can do either the lower group first, or the upper group first. This diagram on the left, upper left, you start where you start. Can you read the Chinese? Yeah, this one, the thick stroke in the middle of this first three, then 4 on the right, then the 5 and 6 on the right. So you always make 4 or 5, then add 2. Just the number game. 6 equals to 4 plus 2 or 3 plus 3, right? Easy math. This last group on the lower bottom, to the left, sorry. 1, 2, 3. There's no number, so you figure it out yourself. It's a quiz. How do you do it? You start from the left, 4, and then let's do it. Okay. Let's see if I can get the flying white. Okay, I just load a little dark ink to the first half of the brush, and then I touch a little bit ink, I mean water, before so just make it a little wet before I touch the paper, right before I touch the paper. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do it again. Top first, 1, 2, 3. I didn't get the white, flying white. Come on, a little bit, if you can watch a little bit. Well, you're not supposed to, you cannot really duplicate the masterpiece exactly, because I think the flying white just an indicator of the speed, the proper speed. If you and the sequence also, the last stroke usually dry and get flying white, right? Let me repeat this here. So this one is a variation of form. So this one determines the whole groove, as we call it. One the Dao is coming from one, from Wuji, no yin yang. Once you have the first, you start to create a order, law of the Dao. In this study, you concentrate more on the composition. I'll concentrate more on composition. If you need to practice individual strokes, you can use the magic class. Just practice one stroke. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. there's a note on this last diagram. It says, whenever you have five, whenever you have six, you paint a six group, number five is the crossing. Remember this. Number five is the crossing. Number five is a crossing stroke. This is number five, right? Not number 10, number five. It's a Chinese number. So number five. This is number six. Number six. So make a crossing on number five, then the last one. This is the way to make six leaves group. Next page. 7. So let me write this down. Number 7. 7 leaves. You don't have to learn the word leaves. This is leaves. So 7 equals to 4 plus 3. You can read this numbers in this description. We read from right to the left. So first 4, then add 3. Or fen, the penny character, plus the ge character stacking together. It becomes 7, right? Can you see that? So where's the 4? On top, right? On top first, then add 3 on the bottom. You can also paint the 7 leaves in the, from left to right order, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the even numbers make a crossing, maybe. So 1, 2, 3 odd numbers. Yeah. So 3 cross 2, then 4, 5. Oh, it's hard. It's not a rule. So just make a repeated 人 stroke. 1, 2. I was wrong. So 人 plus 个 2 plus 3 plus 2. Okay, I got it. Let me do that. And here you can do 3 first, then the 4, or you can do 4 and this 4 on the bottom and 3 on the upper right. When you have 7 leaves, it starts to form a block. And we'll discuss this book. We'll discuss the small blocks or larger group, if you will, later. So we just mention it here. So you're doing, you have to pay attention, in other words, on the form of the shape of the block, okay? Which is composed of several individual groups. Let me get some ink. So 7 equals to 4 plus 3, right? 4 plus 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Remember, it says, one of the struct should be host, right? That usually dominant the direction of the whole group. But you should have this in your mind. Let me repeat it. You're not supposed to do this. No. Okay, I'm cheating. You rather, add more groups to correct if you didn't get enough. You can cover your mistakes. You can even use other techniques, like I use water to just to blur it. Anyway, so 先三后四. We start with first 4, then the 3. Now on this side, let me start from the 3 first, then 4, right? Two parallel. I'll leave it. Then you can break it with another group. And 先四后三 means first make a 4. It's a character 分, right? And then make another group, add another group. Good. This is a 3 plus 4. This is 4 and 3. 4 on top, 3. This doesn't matter. Just consider the whole group in one as whole, in one stroke, in one group. Okay, let me see if any comments and questions. Oh, good. You can read the page numbers. Okay, let me indicate that. Yeah, 7b is on page 18. So you're learning another character, 8. This is 19. We're at 19, page 19. Okay, I'm going to turn this page and then let me enlarge it first. Okay, now we're into another chapter. We have just completed the individual groups. Now we're talking about a just like writing an article. You're talking about a 大段 means a large paragraph. I use the word block, and it's a fine art term. Maybe I should use, because we are writing the bamboo. We use the verb write, to write, instead of to paint. So you use the same words as you write an article. This we're talking about 大段, means a major, a large, a big chapter, 平排人字叠缀。Um, parallel spreading 人 overlapping 人 I don't know. Let me read this. 叠缀之法，小段接成大段，此听是也。这人字各自叠是用。This is classical Chinese, kind of hard without the punctuation. Just briefly, let's talk about how to combine small groups into large groups or paragraph. It's all start from the two-stroke group, three-stroke group, or four-stroke group that we have studied. You form 6 or 7 by 4 plus 2 or 3 plus 4, or so on and so forth. You'll make a paragraph or a block, and just like you write article, there's continuity among the groups, and there's some connecting strokes between groups, some overlapping to form dense and sparse. That's actually I find the illustration gives most of the information. Even I never read the manual text before. I got all the information just by looking at the illustrations, so you don't have to worry about the long inscriptions. But the stroke order, is very helpful, I find. That's why I teach you a little bit of that. So I assume this will start from the top, but you could, start from the middle and then develop down and but I would pay more attention on when you paint a branch, the outside form, the shape of the groove is very important for me. So I would let me just start from the top, see what happens. 3, 4, and I think as we studied, the top one usually has a flying stroke. You could actually do that last if you are not sure if it's the top. I see this one is very dense here, so you might have a crossing there, and then you can have a crossing there, and crossing. You don't have to add the complete group if there's no room, right? So when I see this 1, 2, 3, 2 equal, excuse me, I have to add another to break it. So just adjust the group. You can break it. I start to change according to the situation. So just learn the rules, but not and then break it. So you always add groups of 2 in this case. And then let me do another flying stroke there. and that changed the weight. So I need to have a heavy stroke there, balance it. Don't have to be exactly the same as the copy, but roughly, I got a paragraph about the same, right? So you have think about the triangles when you talk about paragraph. So think about, a large triangle. It's a upside down triangle. So in my mind, I would think this is maybe two triangles, two or major triangle like that. You can have something like that. Just think about abstract shapes when you paint. It will help. So that's all for today. I will stop. And if you missed the first half, I started earlier today because I have an appointment coming. I have to end earlier. Um, so we'll continue tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye bye.